This conference will now be recorded.
Yesterday we were discussing about which networking, point to site, express route. You won't be getting a chance to create express route. So we only have two options. What are they? Point to site and site to site. In which scenario I will go with point to site and which scenario I will go with site to site. If only few of your clients wants to connect with which network? Private network in the sense Azure virtual private network. Azure private network, then we can go with point to site. In which scenario you will go with site to site? If your complete on-premises wants to have a connectivity with Azure network, then we go with site to site. Okay. What are the resources from the Azure that is required to create a point to site connectivity? VNet. Next. Hmm? VM. Gateway is correct, but which gateway it is? VNet gateway. Why we use VNet gateway? Hmm? Hmm. Why we use VNet gateway? I cannot directly expose my private network. So for that purpose, what I have done, I have kept a VNet gateway. Like that is a gatekeeper. The request will come to the VNet gateway. The VNet gateway will take it to the VNets. Understood? So that's a gatekeeper. Okay. Now, what about site to site? Which resources I need to have for site to site? A VNet and VNet gateway and local network gateway. Why we use local network gateway? To represent my on-premise. I don't have on-premise. I want to show it right somehow. So that's why I use VNet like local network gateway to represent my on-premises location. Okay. Have you done site to site? I think I have asked you guys to do it site to site also. And you are able to okay. Do it for site to site also. And if you face any questions, let me know. And for point to site connectivity, you have created what? You have downloaded the VPN and you are able to connect to the VM with private IP or not? Yes. Yes or no or not practiced? No, not connected. What is the issue? You downloaded the VPN. The VPN is downloaded, but still you are like, what is the issue there? What is the error? So you posted it in the channel. No, right? So if you go to the VPN settings, there you will be able to see your VPN. So this is my VPN yesterday I created. I used to connect to this VPN. So once I do connect based on my client certificate in the local and the root certificate in the Azure, it will authenticate. Okay, if not practice, you need to do practice. Okay, most probably you will be getting a chance saying that error will be unable to authenticate with the certificate. Authorization issues, something what like some error you are going to get it. So once if you get it, bring the laptops tomorrow. I will make it to happen. So tomorrow is no class, holiday. Okay. Okay, so let's see one more concept. So as of now, we have discussed point to site and site to site and express route. Express route is mostly theoretical way. Practical, you cannot do it. Now, let's discuss about a service, one more service in Azure that is called traffic manager. What do you understand by the definition? It manages the traffic. That's what, right? Okay, how it is going to manage? Let's consider. I have hosted my application on where app services. I have two applications that is hosted on two app services. So just consider like this. You know, right, how to host your application on top of the app services? Yes. Let's consider this is one app service and second one is this is another app service. First app service is in India. Second app service is in Central US. Let's consider like this. I'm a user who is sitting somewhere in India. So let's consider this is the user. I'm sitting somewhere in the India. I have connected these two. I have connected these two app services to a traffic manager. Understand this. I have connected this app service and this app service to the traffic manager. This is a traffic manager. Basically, what it does, it distributes the traffic. If it is serving the request, that means it is busy. That means it is going to divert the traffic to the second one, right? That is what the definition of the traffic manager. Like the same way, I am a user sitting in India. I have given the request to the traffic manager. Now the traffic manager needs to take this request and to which app service it is going to go the request. Like it is going to take the request to which app service? What do you think? Whether I am a user sitting in India. I browsed traffic manager. The traffic manager should take my request to which app service? Why you are saying India? Why not Central US? That is exactly. So whatever is nearest location to me, the traffic manager will know it, and based upon that, it is going to take my request to the nearest app service. Okay. So that is called as one routing method. Okay. Second, I have given the request to the traffic manager. Out of these two app services, I always want to give priority to India app service. So if I'm a user browsing from Central US, I gave the request to the traffic manager. But out of these two, which one is more priority? India. So this is one more routing method. That routing method is called priority routing method. Okay. So there are basically six routing methods. Basically, what does a traffic manager does? It is going to distribute the traffic to the app services. The app services are nothing but endpoints, backend endpoints. I can consider two of the app services to the endpoints. Okay. So there are basically six routing methods. What are those different six routing methods? First one is we already know that whatever the request that it get, always my priority should go to India app service. And then we have there are six routing methods. Okay. Multi-value, subnet, and then we have three other priority, multi-value, subnet, and then even I'm not able to. Yeah, let me show you this. I'll show you the definition and then I'll take you to that page. Traffic manager in Azure. This is a service. Basically, I was saying, so let me show you the like this one. Create the traffic manager profile using the Azure manager. See the two app service plans. One plan is in East US, one plan is in West Europe. So basically, if you give the request to the traffic manager will decide based upon the routing method. If you give priority, it will take the priority. If you give performance, it will take the performance. Based upon the routing method, the request will go to either this or this. Okay. Then how I can give the request to this traffic manager? That is what the first point, right? I am saying if I give the request to the traffic manager, it will take care. But how I need to give the request? So basically, see the definition. Traffic manager by default, will be having a DNS name. When I say DNS, that means domain server name. Based upon the domain server's name, like you can hit the request to the give the request to the traffic manager. Based upon that, the request will be taken to the app services. So I'll just give you the scenarios. So if you want to practice while you are practicing, see this: create a traffic manager profile using the portal. They have given you the example also. When you try to practice, you can do like this. Okay. So this is from the Microsoft documentation itself. Traffic manager uses DNS to direct the client request to the appropriate service endpoint. The endpoint is app service. So let's take this. Let's try to create it first. I will show you how it is going to work. So by definition, you understood, right? It is going to distribute the traffic. Okay. So first, I am going to create a resource group. First, I need to have an app services. While creating the app service itself, I can create the resource group. I already have different kind of app services. One is in West US 3. Okay, I'll go with the new one. I don't want to make you confused. I'll create the new one. Azure apps 1. This is the resource group 1. What I'm doing basically, I'm just creating an app service. What is the name of your web app? So I'm just going to keep it as my web app, some random number. So this is the first app service. What do you want to publish in this code? What is the runtime stack? Just keep it for ASP.NET 4.8. You already know all this. And where do you want to create this? I want to create this under WestUS 3. Okay. And it is going to create a new, I like see this. I want this app service to be created under WestUS 3. Okay. What is the app service plan? By default, it should have one plan, right? I am going to create a new plan. So the plan name is, so I'm going to keep it as my dev 456 ASP app service plan. Okay. What is the SKU and size? 1 GB. Fine. I'm okay with this. Just review and create this. In the West US 3, I created one app service, and for that one app service, I have a plan. Okay. Now let's create second app service. And these two app service should be from two different regions. So it is trying to submit the deployment, and I'll open again. So it is still in progress. Meanwhile, I'll create another app service. Earlier I created in West US 3. Now I will create somewhere in East US. So create the resource group is RGASP2. RG-ASP2. And I'm going to give this name as my web app. Earlier I have used 456, right? Now I will use 789. It is already available. Somebody has already taken this. So I am going to use 7789. Randomly I need to give some name. That's why. I want to publish code. Stack is 4.8 and it is Windows. And where do you want to host this? Earlier I have used West US 3. Now East US. East US is there, East US 2 is there. I'll take East US 2. And I want to create a plan for it. So create new. I'm going to keep it as my dev app 789. Okay. My dev app 7789 ASP. This is the plan name. Yes. And what is the plan size? F1. Create this. Is it fine now? Yeah. Looks like there is some internet issue today. Yeah. Okay, so I have created the other app service, and what was the issue? The internet issue. My request not went into the Azure. Go to these steps. Go to the basic tab. Yes, this is what I want. Next deployment is fine. Review and create this. So web portal, the template deployment is not valid according to the validation process because see inner errors details. Okay, in which location it is failing east US2 and this stage 6 and this. The region has quota of 0 instances for your subscription. So that is what the problem is. So delete one app service and try to create it again. Because whatever the app services that are there, as of now, the quota is completed. So we need to delete those app services, any one app service. So these are the restrictions with the free trial. But in real time, you won't get this problem. So Suresh is there, right? I'm just going to delete this. So you need to delete this by using the name. Copy it and paste it here and delete it. This also I am going to delete. So this first one is working. Whether you are able to browse it, see it. So the first one that we created was, yes, it is working. Okay. What about the second one? So let's start creating the second one. So we need to do the same thing again. Create. If there is a problem in the location, I will change the location. Okay. So I want to create it under a new resource group called RGASP2. Already there. I can do one thing. Let's search for the names. This is there. Resource groups. See, ASP2 is there. Do we have any resource in this? No. Now I will create the resource here itself. You can directly create it from here itself. It's completely your wish. Whatever the way that you want to create, you can create. It will be better if you try to do it from here itself. So I want to create one more app service and this should be from ASP2. Yeah. I want it to be the name as my dev app, something like a 1224, something like this. Content stack for point 0.8 Windows and see the plan. You can take the plan like where you can create it. I'm just creating it in Central US. Let's keep it as Central US. And I want to create a new plan, new hyphen ASP plan. Yes, this is the plan that I want to create, and I want it to be created under Central US itself. Review and create this. See, if you already have, that's why I always ask you to delete the resources because we will be falling into these issues. Yeah, now it is trying to deploy. While this is getting completed, two app services is fine. As per this diagram, we have two app services. Now this is traffic manager. We also need to have a traffic manager. So go to the search bar and look for traffic manager profile. So you will be navigating into here. So click on create. I want to create a traffic manager. Name of your traffic manager. I want to keep it as my dev app. Okay, this is fine. It has taken this name. But for my safety, I'm just keeping it as TM, traffic manager. What is the routing method? We have 6 routing methods. So just go with the default. Under free subscription, I want to create this traffic manager, and under which resource group? I want to keep this under a resource group called anything. You can keep it under ASP1 or 2, fine, and create this. I am just creating the traffic manager also. So whatever the resource that are required, I have created the 3 resources, 2 app services and 1 traffic manager. Now I need to connect these 2 app services to the traffic manager, right? So let's see how we can do this. I'll just verify that whether all the resources that we want is created or not. App services, yeah, these 2 are there. Now I have a question. If I browse the traffic manager, let's consider the request went into this app service. What is the home page for this? Your app is running. You know what is the default hosting start.html. If the request went into this app service, again also same page, right? So how you can say that the request went into which app service? Yes, you need to change the HTML page of these two. At least change one. So now what I'm going to do is take this URL and paste it here. Use scm dot. This will open Kudu. So I am going to keep this as this. You understood right why I am trying to change it. The default page for the 2 app services is same. So I cannot say that to which app service it went, the request went into. So that's why I'm changing for at least 1 app service. So debug console, anything is fine. Today the internet is like, it is taking so much time. Go to site, root, edit it, and what is the keyword? Web app is URL. Okay. There is URL. Yeah. So, so somewhere it will be. Let's take this. Control F, H1. Again, I forgot that completely. So it is better simply copy this and paste it there. Okay, see this is the one, right? Even I searched for H also. The search is becoming more, so that's why I just copied the whole content. I'm just going to make it as web app 2. Okay. Now if you browse this, you are going to get web app 2. Not this one. Which one we changed? 456, right? 456. Okay. If you are getting this problem sometimes, just open incognito tab and look for this information. Because somewhere in the cache it will be stored, right? See, understood why I'm trying to do this. I have some trust issues with this browser. Okay, web app 2. Okay, if the request goes to the second app service, it should show web app 2. Okay, okay. So let's go to the traffic manager. So my dev app TM, this is the traffic manager. So just click on this traffic manager. So As per the definition, traffic manager distributes the traffic to the backend app services. The app services I am going to call it as endpoints. So now I need to configure what endpoint. So here we have endpoints, right? So this is where you need to add the two app services. So endpoints, add it. Is it an Azure endpoint or nested endpoint or external endpoint? Huh? Without knowing, it's an Azure endpoint. So the app services are within this region, within this section only, right? I'm going to keep it as app service one, the name of it. What is the target type? App service lot, or public IP address? I want to keep the target as app service. What is the target? This is the target. So for the first app service, this is the one. Do you want to use any custom header settings? As of now, I don't want to use any, because if you use custom header setting within the URL, you need to keep something. So just forget about the URL thing. Add it. I created one endpoint. I need to also create second endpoint also, right? So add, it is an Azure endpoint itself. I'm going to keep it as app service 2. Type is, target is app service only. Which two? Which one? Now this is ASP2, right? This is the second endpoint for me. Add this. I have added two of my app services, okay, as the endpoints. Now I need to give the request to the traffic manager. So the traffic manager will take the request to the backend endpoint. How I can give the request to the traffic manager? If you go to the overview, to browse the traffic manager, we have the DNS name, domain name service. So you need to take this domain name service and you need to hit this URL. So in this way, you are giving the request to the traffic manager. So hit it and see the error. 404 page not found. What might be the issue? See, this custom domain has not been configured inside Azure. Okay. Client cache is still pointing to the same domain. You are able to see this information, right? That means the traffic manager is trying to send the request, but it got this response. What will be the issue? Basically, I have a question. You are running the app services, right? Set of compute resources who will provide for the app services? ASP, app service plan. We have how many kinds of app service plans? Different. We have S1, F1, P2, V2, P3, V3. Yes. If I go with F1, if I go with F1, do I have more features? If I go with S1, P2, V3, yes. So more the plan is, more the features are. So let's go to this app service plan first. So for this app service, what is the plan? F1. And what about this one? For this also I have F1. So first I want to change this plan. So change the plan. Go to the plan. Now scale up or scale? Yeah, scale up. Right now the plan is F1. If I go with F1, simply see here. Do I have any features here? I will go with D1. What feature I can add? Custom domain. But the future for me is I want to use traffic manager. If you go with the B1, still no. Let's go to the production. I'll go with S1. See, I can use traffic manager, right? That is the problem. So if your app service plan is more configured, like more having the high configuration, then you can make use of this traffic manager. Now you understood why these features are there. Okay. I'm just updating the app service plan 1 with the S1. I like the same way I need to do it for the second one also, right? So it is done. Let's go to the app services. This is the second one. I'll go to this app service plan also, change it to S1. Go to scale up, production S1, apply. So I have applied S1 for both of the plans. So once this is done, now can I browse the traffic manager, DNS name URL? Let's see this. Go to advanced. See, proceed to my traffic. It actually the browser is blocking this because of not secure connection. So I'm just going to proceed with this. So the request went into where? Second app service. See the URL mydevapptm.trafficmanager.net. So I have given the request to the traffic manager. The traffic manager took the request to the second app service. I want to always give a priority to the first app service. Okay. So I need to change what? The routing method. Where the routing method will be available? In the traffic manager. So let's go to the traffic manager, and if you go to the configuration part, there you can see the routing method. By default, when we are creating, we kept it at performance. Now, what are these different kind of routing methods? First, we will see the definition of, like, we will see the description about this. So to see the description, go to the Google and use traffic manager routing methods. See, we have priority, weighted, performance, geographic, multi-value, and subnet. We have already seen performance. What do you mean by performance? So first go this. Select performance routing when you have endpoints in different geographic locations. That means in two different locations, if you have your app services and you want the end user to use the closest one, that means the closest location. Now, in this diagram, I have told you that I was in India. I have connected my two app service to the traffic manager. I am a user from India, and if I hit the traffic manager, the request will go to India only. Now, let's consider this app service is in where? One app service is in Central US, another app service is in West US 3. Now, how can you say that which one is close to me? You cannot say it. You are sitting in India and you are trying to browse the Central US and West US 3. These are the two options. Okay. If you want to calculate the distance, go to Google and calculate it. Or else do one thing. Anyhow, I want to see, take a VM, create it in West US 3. From that VM, open the browser and hit the traffic manager domain, DNS name. So the request will go to where? West US 3. Because where did you create the VM? West US 3 itself. So that way also you can do it, right? So if you want to practice that, you can practice. Because as of now, we do not know the distance from, like, which is nearer to me. So that's why what I am asking you is create a VM. In that VM, open the browser and hit the traffic manager DNS name. So whatever is nearest to it, it is going to give you the nearest location. Okay. So performance is always utilized if the two app services are in different regions and if you want to get the closest location to you. Why you need to get all this always the closest one? To reduce the latency. Yes. Next we will go for priority. Why we use priority? By name itself we can understand. I have two app services. Whoever browses it, I want them to access only first app service. Then you can keep priority. If the first app service is down, then what about the next? Understood the point? See, I am giving a priority routing method. So my request went into here and it saw that we need to go always priority to the India app service. All the requests are going into the India app service. Suddenly the India app service went down. Then what about the new users? Now it will go to the traffic manager and it sees that this app service is down. Immediately it is going to take the request to the second app service. Understood? If it doesn't do like this, then what is the use of this? Understood, right? So priority. Select priority routing when you want to have a primary service endpoint for all the traffic. Primary means first important. Secondary means second important, like this. So first, if you have a primary service endpoint for all the traffic, you can provide multiple backup endpoints in case the primary or one of the backup endpoint is unavailable. Understood the definition, right? If the you mentioned one primary, that primary went down, immediately take the request to the second app service. So this is called priority. Now let's do the priority in the portal. So I want to change this from performance to priority. Save this. Now you will be having a doubt. Which is more priority? Out of these two app services, which is more priority? Did you define anywhere? No. Then how can you define? Go to the endpoints and here you can see least is the number, highest is the priority. Understood? నెంబర్ ఎంత లీస్ట్గా ఉంటే అంత ప్రియారిటీ దానికి. ఇప్పుడు ఈ రెండిట్లో దేనికి హైయెస్ట్ ప్రియారిటీ? యాప్ సర్వీస్ 1 2 2 no. See, I have two app services, two priorities. So which one will be having highest priority? Least. Least is the number, highest is the priority. ఇప్పుడు ఈ రెండిట్లో లీస్ట్ ఏది? వన్ కదా, అప్పుడు దానికి హైయెస్ట్ ప్రియారిటీ ఉంటుంది కదా. అదే నేను చెప్ లీస్ట్ ఈస్ ద నెంబర్, హైయెస్ట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రియారిటీ. ఓకే. So the request will always go for the first app service. So let's browse the traffic manager URL. So where is it? I have that in a incognito. No, not here. Yeah, no, even not here. Okay, I will browse it anyhow. I'm going to take this. Copy this. Here it went into web app 2 because I'll tell you. See the things. Because the names that we have written was we randomly written it. See this. I'll take you to this. Go to the traffic manager and see the first one, app service one. What is the name of the app service? My web app 456, right? Go to the app services, my web app 456. So that is what the first preference, right? If you browse this one, you are going to get that code as my web app 2 only. Understood? If you want me to change it, I will change it, but okay, see it. This is what you will get it. I'll do one thing. I'll just change the code, and for your better understanding, we will run this again. So go to advanced tools, my web app 456, right? Okay. Why we are not getting this? Lag is there. Debug console, anything command line or PowerShell. Simple. I'm just changing the code. That's it. To make you understand what it is. Site, root, and this web app 2, right? There it is. It is showing one time it is there. Yeah, here it is. So what I need to keep here? Tell me. I'll I'll keep the app service name. Can I keep this? My web app 456. Here I'll keep like this. And if you want to mention it as, keep it as app service 1 or 2. 1. Okay. Save this. Okay. Like the same way, I need to do it for second app service also, right? I'll remove this. I'll copy the name from here. Copy. Directly I'm entering. This is what the URL that you will get, right? I'm just trying to do it like this. How many routing methods are there in the traffic manager? Six. As of now, how many you have seen? In which scenario you will go with the performance? Nearest location. What is priority? We are discussing, huh? Okay. Like, let's consider we have two app services. In the two app services, I always want to give the priority to the first app service. In that case, you can go with the priority routing method. So Control F. Okay. I'll remove this. Where is this? Control F. Your web app. I'll remove all of this stuff. I'll keep it as the app service name. Copy this and paste it here. In the brackets, I'll keep it as app service. Save this. Okay. Now, if you have any doubts, even you can browse it. First, I'm going with this. 456 is the first app service. Okay. 1234 is the second app service. Okay. You're okay with this. Let's go to traffic manager. So in the traffic manager, we have configured the two app services. So see the app service one. For app service one, it should be 456, right? Yes. So we were discussing about the priority routing method. So I can see the options under configuration. Under configuration, I made it as priority and save. If you go to the endpoints, you can see the priority numbers. So the priority is always for the first app service. So browse the traffic manager. Yes. Okay. Now what I want to do is always the requests are going for the traffic manager one. Sorry, app service one. I want to show that if the app service one is down, automatically the request should go to the second app service. So how I can prove that? This is what the first app service, right? I will stop this. So automatically the request will go to the second app service. Okay, first one is stopped. So let's see. So since the cache memory will be stored in this, I'm just copying this and open this in a new. Wait for it. It is going to take the request to the second app service. If it doesn't do whatever we want to do, like then what is the use case of it? So just give it some time. It is going to direct the traffic to the second train point. Okay. Okay. Just give it some time. We will try to do this after some time. So that is what the main importance of the priority. Even if you want to change the priority, how can you change it? See here it is 2 and 1. Now I want to keep this priority change. Can I keep 9 and 10? Can I keep 9 and 10? Yes, you can keep. But which one is more prior? 9. 9 is the most priority one. Okay. So if you want to change this priority also, you can change the priority number something like 6 I can keep. Save this. Now we have 6 and 2. Which one is most? 2 is the most priority one. Okay. So like this also you can make the traffic manager to work. See, now it went into the top. Understood. Even now, if you want to browse this, see the traffic will be diverted to the second one. Understood? So this way you can make use of priority routing method. I have a requirement. So let me show you this. Priority is done, performance is done. What is weighted? For example, I have 10 users. For the 10 users, I gave this URL. They are trying to access this, right? 5 requests should go to one app service, 5 requests should go to another app service. That is called weighted. When you want to distribute the traffic across a set of endpoints based upon their weight. So distribute the load across two different app services. That is called as weight. What about geographic? Select geographic routing to direct users to a specific endpoints based on where their DNS queries originate from. For example, if I am trying to do it from India, like let's consider my DNS name I have. So, for example, if you take irctc.co.in, .in is India. So, if they are trying to browsing from .in, they should get the app service as India app service only. So, you can specify the geographic values also. Then, what about multi-value? Select multi-value for traffic manager profiles that can only have IPv4 or IPv6 as endpoints. For example, I have a VM. In that VM, I have installed IAS. Okay, understand like this multi-value. For example, I created a VNet. In that VNet, I divided the network into smaller parts using subnets. Whoever is there in this subnet, whoever is there in this subnet, I want them to access only app service one. If they are from the subnet B, the address will be different, right? So if they are from the subnet B, I want them to access the second app service. Like this, if I want to make, I can make it as a subnet routing. Then what about this multi-value? Multi-value traffic for the traffic manager profile that can only have IPv4 or IPv6 as the endpoints. And when a query is received from this for this profile, all healthy endpoints are returned. For example, as of now, I hosted my application on top of the app service. It is fine. I'm able to use it. Is it possible to add the endpoint as a VM? Because I also used to host my application on top of the VM also. Is it possible for me to add it? Okay. If it is yes, then how? So let's see. First, I need to add the endpoint, right? The endpoint is a VM right now. So see this. Is it an Azure endpoint, external or nested? Let's keep it as Azure. The name will be, I'm going to keep it as VM1. What is the type? Public IP address. This is what you need to keep. So you can add your public IP address of the VM so that once if you browse, you will like once if you browse the traffic manager will take the request to the VM public IP. So that you can understand that we can also use app service slot, public IP address of the VM, or not only the VM, any other services. If they are having public IP, we can attach that IP address. You will understand why the other services will have public IP later classes. So till this point it is fine. Why use traffic manager? To distribute the traffic to the backend endpoints. Now I have a question. Load balancer. What do you mean by this load balancer? This is also distribute the load, right? There it is. Hmm? అక్కడ కూడా బ్యాలెన్స్ చేసింది కదా ట్రాఫిక్ నది అండర్స్టూడ్ లైక్ రెండు సిమిలర్ గా అనిపిస్తున్నాయి మీకు ట్రాఫిక్ మేనేజర్ ఏం చేస్తుంది అది కూడా డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేస్తుంది వచ్చిన లోడ్ ని ఇప్పుడు లోడ్ బ్యాలెన్సర్ ఉంది మరి ఇది కూడా డిస్ట్రిబ్యూటే కదా చేసేది మరి రెండు ఒకే విధంగా ఉన్నాయా సో అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్ let's first see the definition of the traffic manager that's why I haven't explained you both look similar but they are not common so how did you browse the traffic manager. So first let's see what is traffic manager. A traffic manager is a DNS based traffic load balancer. It acts as a load balancer, but it is operating on DNS based domain name service. So how did you give the request to the traffic manager? By domain name. So based upon the domain name, if you want to give a request to the traffic manager, like it does the DNS based traffic load balancing. But what about load balancer? Load balancer, like, okay, that is another service which we will discuss later. We have three services: traffic manager, load balancer, application gateway. These three look similar, but they are different. So in traffic manager, we added as a endpoints, but in load balancer, they are called as backend tool. Backend tool. Understood? So traffic manager is a DNS based traffic load balancer. And this allows you to distribute the traffic to your public facing applications across multiple regions. Okay. What we can achieve by using this traffic manager? If one app service is down, immediately the request will go to the second app service, right? By using this, I can always make my application high available. You understood what is high available? That means always my application should be available. So by using this, you can get all this, and also you can get application availability, and which increases the application performance also. How the application performance will be increased? Because if I keep the routing method as like performance based, the nearest location only I'm going to get, right, so that there is no network latency, so that the application performance will be increased. And service maintenance without downtime. For example, consider this: I have two app services. I'm trying to make deployment to the second app services. I don't want any traffic to be sent into the second app service. At that time, I will keep the first one as the highest priority, so the second will be free, right? Now I can make the deployment. After some time, again I can make it to waited. Understood? And yeah, these are the main things. At least you need to say two or three: high availability, increased performance application, no downtime. Okay, so you need to by heart this definition for sure. It's a DNS based load balancer. DNS in the sense domain name service. It's a DNS based load balancer. But is it a real load balancer? No. It looks like a load balancer, but it is not a load balancer. It does the DNS based routing. Okay. So till this point, any doubts?